This is DesignSafe Radio, where natural hazards researchers strive to make our society more resilient to everything nature throws at us.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of DesignSafe Radio. Glad to have you here. I'm your host, Dan Zehner, and looking forward to chatting with my good friend, Dr. Jeff Berman from the University of Washington. And he is one of the co-PIs with our NHERI Tallwood project, which we've heard a little bit about from a couple of folks on our show the past year or so. One thing that we're doing, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, he has in the background there our 10-story building that is being built right now at the University of San Diego, large outdoor shake table. And if you can spot the NSF logo, whoever spots it first and says where it is in the comments, we will pin your comment. So starting a new thing with that. Thank you, Jeff, for giving us the opportunity to have some fun on YouTube. So Jeff, welcome. Good to have you here, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Dan. Thanks for having me. It's an awesome opportunity.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where your research interests are, because you've got quite a few different rabbit holes that you're involved in. But just, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm a professor at University of Washington. I'm in the civil engineering department. I teach a lot of structural engineering courses. And the research area, I started my career kind of in steel structures for seismic loading, and spent a bunch of time there and got really into the notion of design for resilience and design for damage control and repairability in steel structures, and have since kind of branched off into a few different areas. One of those is taking some of those same concepts and porting them over into the mass timber building world and that whole movement, which is how my collaboration with all of the co-PIs on the Tallwood project began. And then also I am also the operations director for one of our NHERI facilities, for the rapid facility here at the University of Washington that does a lot of we have tools for natural disaster reconnaissance and data collection post-event, and I've got a lot of interests in those areas, what we can learn post-disaster. I also have, I'm kind of an earthquake engineer in general as well. And my colleague, Mark Eberhard, and I here have done a lot of work on Cascadia subduction zone hazards and their impact on the Pacific Northwest. And
yeah, one of the things it's just always fun to talk to you, because I think we're similarly wired in the multi-passionate sense. You've got a lot of different things that you're very passionate about, and it's just always fun to talk about them. So let's dive deep into Tallwood today. So
Sure.
We've talked about it a little bit. It's a long-term National Science Foundation funded research project, started 2015-ish by my recollection, but a lot of moving parts, literally and figuratively, hundreds of researchers, lots of different industry groups. So, and as a co-PI, you've been involved since the get-go. What are you guys hoping to learn from shaking that 10-story building on the world's largest outdoor shake table? What kind of impact might this have on engineering and resilience of the built environment?
There's a really significant industry academia partnership. I think they are becoming more and more critical, more and more important to push some of the solutions and new ideas that we come up with within academic research, to push this to practice kind of faster and more effectively for industry.
Because usually it takes a decade or more to push research to industry in most cases from our natural hazards research.
Right. And I think this project in particular, it's been such an excellent collaboration between researchers and between kind of academia and industry. We've developed these new technologies, not kind of in a in a vacuum in academia. We've actually developed them kind of hand in hand with industry. Simpson Strong-Tie is such a huge partner in this project. They have drift compatible connections for beam to column connections that are implemented in the 10-story building, and we helped them design. They designed them. It's just a fantastic partnership.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many kind of facets of this project that could not have been achieved with an academic only team. We have built now. I can say we have built because we topped out right before the holidays.
Yeah.
So we have built a 10-story building on a shake table. And I can tell you, the Copiais, who are fantastic researchers, none of us really have experience with constructing 10-story buildings.
No, yeah.
So, having that partnership, we couldn't do a project like this without them. I think it's been kind of through every aspect. We have a great partnership with a architectural firm and structural engineering firms who are leaders in the push of mass timber into real projects, not just on the West Coast, but kind of all over the country. And they helped design the building. They helped guide what would be the practical details, while still making sure that we had the innovation, because it's still academic research. So
yeah, because your responsibility as the scientific team is, what is that big research question and how do we answer that? And that's what the NSF is funding you for, right? And normally the NSF doesn't get into the innovation game of technology development, and this is, I think, fairly unique in research, this project that you put together, that it satisfies scratches the NSF itch of that fundamental science, but also gives real world practical application fairly quickly.
And there's so many there's a few kind of really big research questions that we're answering, but there's so many great research questions that we'll be able to look at with the data set.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of DesignSafe Radio. We really appreciate it. Smash that like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Hit that little subscribe button. That really helps us out and bring this message to more people who are interested in hearing about how our engineers and scientists are making our society more resilient to everything nature throws at us. A big thank you to our sponsors at the National Science Foundation. Our award number is 212-9782. And a big thank you to our program officer, Joy Kowski, who is excellent. And our team at the National Science Foundation's Network Coordination Office for NHERI. Marty LaChance is our question writer and copy editor extraordinaire. Raquel Ruiz manages all things technical and editorial. And Morgan Glass is our social media coordinator. Big thank you to everybody at the NHERI NCO and all of our experimental facilities. Thank you and have a great day.